So we've talked about Romans 8:28 a lot. God works all things together for those who love Him. You know the passage well by this point if you've been watching this series. But the question we haven't answered is, how do you love God? You know, part of the equation is that all things work together for good for those who love Him. And so we want to finish this series out by giving you some practical tips for how to love God. What would it look like if you loved God? How would you know if you're loving God? What does He call us to? I want to go and talk to some of the other ministers that work here at GCR. Specifically, I want to ask them, how do you know if you're loving God? How do you know? Is there something that we need to do? Is there something that we can identify? I want you to walk away after watching this video going, I know what I need to do. I know how I should love God and what that should look like in my life. Can I ask you guys a question?
That place was packed.
All right, Maddie, here's the question for you.
Okay.
How do you love God?
With mind, heart, body, soul, and strength.
Can you expound a little bit on that?
Complete surrender, total devotion, loving God, a commitment, not just externally or an appearance, but an actual change of the heart. Like your heart is longing for God and to right by Him, and loving like He does, pursuing Him no matter how difficult. I think that's loving God.
Nice. Ryan, any thoughts?
How do I love God?
Yeah, how to love God.
How to love God? I think we love God by following how He calls us to live in the Bible. And so loving people, trying to be like Christ, trying to become more and more like Him, or the manifestation of Him on this earth in Jesus Christ. So I think that's how we show love to God.
Love it. Thank you, guys. Can I get a statement from you? Take about 20 seconds.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. So if you're a student and wow. No, that's horrible. Hold on. I trip over
I'm just zooming in and out of your face.
The best way to love God is just to love everyone around you. To absolutely put yourself second to Him and honestly put others before you. If you see someone else who's got like a need that you can fill, don't hesitate and just kind of live an interrupted life where your plan is nothing compared to what God wants for you.
Can I ask you a question for a youth video we're doing? How do you love God? How do you go about loving God?
I think there's some very practical ways that you can go about loving God. One of the ways that we love God is through prayer. We express our love to God. In worship, we love God. We express our love to God. And then we also serve. When you serve someone else, you are serving Jesus and you're expressing your love to God. So 3 practical ways: prayer, worship, and service.
One of the ways that we show God love, and you kind of heard it reiterated in previous comments, is that we need to obey God. And the way that we can obey God is by studying His Word to determine His will for our life. Now, one thing that I've learned over time is that God does not force Himself on us. He's given us free will. And so that means we are free to make poor decisions. We are free to make good decisions. We are free to go by our own will. We are free to enact His will in our life. And so by enacting what God wants for your life, you're obeying Him, and by obeying Him, you're loving Him. The other thing that we need to be focusing on is loving others. I truly, truly believe that by showing love to other people, we are actually showing love to God. Not only are we showing love to God by loving other people, but we're obeying God by loving other people because He commands us to love other people. And finally, I just want to close with a story. I still remember going to church camp when I was younger. And I remember this guy, I wasn't really friends with him, but he got baptized at church camp. And I just kind of overheard a conversation he was having with some friends. One second. Oh, isn't he cute? My goodness. I still distinctly remember overhearing this conversation and this guy talking about why he was getting baptized. I remember it as clear as day. He said, my mom is making me get baptized because she wants me to go to heaven if I die. It seems like a bit of a shame. Yeah, we need to get baptized. That's part of the process, but it's part of the process. It's not the end-all be-all of salvation. We see 2 components to the instructions for salvation. And we specifically see in many places both, but in some just one or the other. And both of these components are believe and be baptized. And we're tricking ourselves if we think that believing simply means thinking God is real. Even the demons think that God is real. They know that He is real. They believe in God. But that's a weak definition of belief. A good definition of belief is that we believe when we show our love for God. It's through this outpouring. It's through obeying God. It's through loving others that we are showing love to God. By showing love to God, we're identifying that we're true believers. And so it's through this process of loving God that we find our salvation. I want you to think about that. I think every single Christian, I want you to think about this because I think every single Christian has a question to ask themselves, which is, are you putting a strong enough definition on belief, on the belief component of our salvation? When you think, yeah, I believe in God, what does that mean for you? Are you saying, yeah, I believe in God because you think He's real? That is a weak definition. Are you saying, yeah, I believe in God because I try my hardest to love Him? That is a good definition. And the test for belief is action. And so every Christian has a job, a role to play, to ask themselves. Every single Christian has to ask themselves, if the test for belief is action, what am I taking action on? We've talked about the practicals. We've talked about what it would look like. But in the end, the truth is how to love God. Continue being better. Continue pursuing. Continue chasing. Continue to do more. There is no measuring up, but there is the pursuit of trying to. And I fully believe that that's what we're called to do. That's what we're called to pursue. That's how we're called to live. We're going to put some questions up on the screen for you to talk through with your family. Thank you so much for watching this video series, for making it all the way to the end. Love you. I miss you guys so much.